Thank you for joining our webinar today. We've got an exciting session for you focused on Projility's experts sharing their top tips and tricks. This is episode 8. You can catch up on all of our previous episodes on our YouTube channel. The goal is to provide more guidance to help you get out of Microsoft Project and Planner. Let's get started. My name is Annie Levand, and I'm with a Microsoft Gold partner called Projility. We've been implementing Microsoft Project and portfolio management solutions and developing enterprise-level applications for over 20 years for large enterprises, including everything from engineering, construction, IT, new product development. PMOs and CIOs typically come to us when they can't easily explain what's going on across all their projects. They don't know what resources are working and what work, and they have a hard time getting consistent reports, metrics, and dashboards to make project-based decisions. We're known for having a 98% on time, on budget track record for successfully implementing these solutions for clients. We offer services and solutions in 3 core areas: deployment and consulting services, Projility's core business. We provide professional services for successfully planning and implementing Microsoft Project Portfolio Management, including Microsoft Project Online, Planner Premium, integrating PPM with a line of business applications, and delivering strategic portfolio management solutions to support top-level management planning. Projility also offers a set of Hammerhead pre-built software solutions and accelerators based upon 20 years of experience, including a set of Hammerhead products that provide improved access to your cloud PPM data, accelerate access to visual reports and dashboards using Power BI, connect data between your PPM system with Microsoft Teams, and extend connectivity into Active Directory to improve visibility, insight, and control over your work, people, and projects. New to our offerings is Hammerhead Power Pro, which is a pre-built solution crafted on the foundation of the Microsoft Power Platform and Planner Premium. This offering is designed to bring some of our lessons learned from this platform to your organization. Finally, Projility provides post-implementation support services, including expert care, designed to assist your PMO with gaining on-demand expertise on the solution supported. We have a full online automated e-learning offering that can help improve consistency and adoption for your users of your project management tools. You can learn more about all of our services and solutions on our website, projility.com. We have upcoming webinars covering sessions on best practices for Project Planner Premium and PPM process and tools. Sign up for this in all of our events following the links here, or ask for a copy of today's deck. All videos from this and previous series are available on our best practice playlist on YouTube, listed on this page. Topics range from managing your digital transformation program using PPM technologies to integrating PPM with agile line of business applications. Feel free to subscribe and access this library at any time and share with your colleagues. I'd like to introduce Oscar Rodriguez, consultant here at Projility, who will be taking us through today's agenda. Oscar, the floor is yours.
Hey everybody, thanks Annie. My name is Oscar Rodriguez, as Annie just mentioned. I am a PPM consultant here in Projility. I've begun using a Microsoft project sometime around 2020. I have over 5 years of software project management experience as well as business analysis. Originally, I am from San Juan, Puerto Rico, but currently I'm living in the sunny state of Florida. And some little facts about me: I'm a big outdoors guy. I love climbing, diving, hiking, and any activity that involves us being out in nature. And I want to welcome you all today to managing a Planner Premium project using Power Apps from start to finish as part of our tips and tricks series. So the next step, I'm going to go over just kind of the agenda of what we're going to be looking at throughout our session. So first off, we're going to have a bit of a Planner Premium overview, just kind of reviewing the technology, talking a little bit about Power Apps, Planner Premium, Dataverse, a couple of topics within that as well. Then we're going to talk about initiating a project request. We're going to go through planning for a project, managing a project, monitoring the project progress, as the project goes on. And then talking about how we're going to be completing any closing activities for said project. Then we're going to wrap things up with a Q&A session to make sure that if you guys have any questions to get those answered towards the end. Because we'll be having the Q&A session towards the end, I suggest writing down any questions that you have along the way. That way, we can answer them when the time comes. All right, without further ado, let's go into the overview. All right, so this is a pretty simple diagram of just kind of how some of these things are split up within Power Apps. So, Planner Premium in this case uses a model-driven app like I mentioned, a Power App that leverages Dataverse as the underlying data storage for your project. And I've just kind of broken these pieces down here. So first, we could talk about those Dataverse tables, which again store and manage data used by your business applications. Here's where truly a lot of that project metadata lives. We're also going to have details and data regarding the project lifecycle and any project related items. So all these reside within Dataverse, which again is being leveraged by Power Apps. Inside, that Power Apps as well, we have something called business process flows down here. So business process flows essentially are flows that enable a life cycle for oversight and tracking of a set of standard steps to complete a process. A good example of this would be the project life cycle itself. And this really allows us to use stages as a way to manage the progress of a project. Besides business process flows, we also have business rules, and business rules essentially, and help ensure data integrity and improve the user experience by automating some form behavior. This could be in ways such as setting field values, like predetermined field values. We also have data validation to ensure that certain fields do have data or contain a specific type of data inside them. And another really cool thing that you could do with business rules is that you are able to create some error handling processes to once again just kind of improve not only the user experience, but the efficiency of your model-driven app as well. Another part of this model-driven app process that at least we've done for Power Pro and you can do in your own model-driven apps is you could leverage SharePoint to store specific documents that you want to associate to that project. And then lastly, we have Planner Premium, who is really the scheduling engine behind behind this model-driven app, in this case, Power Pro. And again, it's just Planner Premium is that's where you're going to have all that data regarding schedules, tasks, assignments, things of that nature. So the next slide just kind of talks a little bit more about the different parts of what a plan is and what relates to a plan. So in Planner Premium, a project is also referred to as a plan. These things can be used interchangeably, and this is going to be your main management component. And it's really meant to collect all your project details, all that data regarding your project, the schedule and the tasks. So I'm going to go ahead and start over with the program portion. So in the program, over here. It's essentially a place where you can nest several projects within it, right? Your organization may already be using programs. Either, you have a program manager, or you're kind of grouping projects together based on their strategic alignment or a specific set of resources that you're using. Well, in Planner Premium, you're also able to create programs to do the same thing here and just kind of nest several plans within them. Another portion another functionality that we have within Power Pro and model-driven apps is the project request. So the project request is essentially Planner Premium's project intake process. And that once that project request is filled out, all that data, all that relevant data, it kind of feeds in directly to the plan as well. And now when we get to the plan, so essentially plans will hold any plan metadata. So we're talking about stakeholders, business case, project details, any kind of plan metadata will live within the plan. And then from the plan, we're linked to the schedule. And again, this schedule is what is using Planner Premium per se. So we're going to have schedules, tasks, baselines, dependencies, and any other task-related details, such as resource assignments as well. Another component to the plan would be these project-related items. So what we call a project-related item would be something akin to risks, issues, changes, and statuses. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about these once we kind of go through the system and show you where they live there. And then another portion of the plan would be how I mentioned earlier, using SharePoint to store certain documents or documents relating to that specific plan. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the system. All right. So what you guys are seeing here is like the main page for Planner Premium, you're going to see your active plans. Just kind of wanted to give you a quick guide through what you're seeing in this page. So on the left here is where we have the site map. The site map will contain, home, recent, which will have a storage of the different the last items that you've essentially visited. And you also have a pin section that will allow you to pin specific plans or specific pages that you frequently use and visit. Next off, we have the plan section where we're going to have plan information. We have programs and project requests. Next, we have the project related items, so risk, issues, and changes. And then we have reports on this side as well. And then on the main plan page, it's essentially a list where you're going to see all the different plans that are assigned to you. This is kind of like out of the box, my active plans. They're filtered by whether or not you are the owner or if you belong in that owning group as well. And these are views that you can change. You can look at all plans here. You could look at the ones that are just templates, and you can modify your views to have specific plans, either grouped by program or grouped by specific resources or specific sponsor, whichever one of these fields you would like to group by. So you can definitely modify this view right here. But as part of this process, like I mentioned, I wanted to kind of go over kind of like that project life cycle, but kind of starting from the project request. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up project request, and we're going to start initiating a project request. So like I mentioned, project request is essentially Planner Premium's built-in project intake method. So we can go in here and we'll also have a list of the different project requests that we have. These are some active project requests that have not been approved yet, but I'm going to go ahead and create a new one. And then I'm going to just write some details here. So I'm going to write test webinar project. And then I'm going to add some details here as well. I'm just going to write test for most of these. Pick a department. I'll just go ahead and pick a cloud migration as a program. Just fill out some of the standard information that we have here: strategic initiative alignment, business impact. I do want to make mention that all of this information that you're seeing here, these fields can be modified, right? You can add custom fields that, they maybe fit into basic info, or they might fit into a business case, or, leadership, whatever one of these sections. And you can actually add even more sections, right, for specific data points that you want to capture. So I'm just going to keep on writing some more details here. Another thing I wanted to mention is that you can also add different tabs to collect different forms of information as well. At the moment, we just have the summary and project creation info tab, but you can also add new tabs, like I said, to kind of nest specific kinds of information together. As a requester, I'm going to put Bryce. As a sponsor, I will put myself here. Suggested project manager, I'll also put myself here. Just set the suggested, the proposed start and finish dates. Put this a couple of months out. And let's say that this is 1,000 here. Say it's 5,000 here. I just want to bring some attention to this lock over here. This lock just means that it's a more than it's a locked field, which more than likely indicates that it is a calculated field. In this case, hovering over certain fields do have tooltips. In this case, we don't have the tooltip saying what the functionality is, but this is just the calculation for the project budget and the financial benefits that come from it. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and click save. And as you can see, we now have a request ID. It's an auto number that has been generated for this. I'm going to give a quick refresh just to ensure that all the data that has been loaded in. You can do that one more time. I'm not seeing this life cycle stage populate just yet. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. There we go. So now we're at draft stage. And I want you guys to pay attention to the project request life cycle. So these life cycles are a really awesome way that you can leverage model-driven apps, Dataverse, and Planner Premium all together. But essentially, once I have all that information, I have these stages outlined for me, and each one of these stages have what we call deliverables. And these deliverables are also very configurable. At the moment, we have a couple of what we call smart fields that do the evaluation on your own. This is one of those business, not the business process flow, but the business rule that I mentioned, which is a way to kind of automate that process. So this is already checking whether or not I filled out the business case, the proposed dates, and the proposed financials. And then, it also has the sponsor and suggested project manager field so that you can see them at a glance right here, the value for strategic initiative alignment, and any other fields that you may have here. Once all that is filled in, there is a rule so that it can allow me to go to the next step. As you can see, it jumped me over to approval. And once I'm at approval, let's say I am the approver in this case, then I can go in and I'll select approved in this case. I'll put in the approver as myself. The approval date would be today. And I'm just going to say just a little comment that you can add. And once again, all of this is modifiable, as per the client. So if you need a specific set of fields here that you want as part of your approval process, that's something that you can definitely configure as well. And then once I click finish, as I mentioned, project requests kind of feed into plans. One of the things that we've done with PowerPro is actually use one of those business process flows so that once the project request is completed, we are able to create a project automatically from that. So I'm just going to go ahead and refresh once more. Give it a couple of seconds. And as you can see now, this information is filled out and it's giving me a resulting project ID and a resulting project as well. So if I go ahead and click into this resulting project, I'll be jumping right into the newly created project as well. So that's one of the things that's one of the really cool things about the project lifecycle is that it allows you to kind of take some steps to move the project along the way, and then it just kind of allows you to be very organized in the manner that you do that as well. So now that we're at the project, I think we're at the stage where we want to, know how to plan the project. So when it comes to planning a project, after it's been created, you want to ensure that you update and capture all the relevant project metadata in their corresponding tabs. And then another thing that you want to do is kind of make sure that you are going over the schedule that is part of this project as well, and make sure that that is also updated. So let's just take a quick look at the information that is available to us here in this project. We have things such as project leadership. A lot of that information from the project request is carried over to the project itself or the plan. Project schedule setup is part of the flow that we've created. So we want a fixed duration project, and this is done automatically. You can also modify this to be, fixed effort project in any other kind of a schedule mode that you wish as well. You can also select the calendar templates as well. And then the schedule setup date, also known as the start date. This comes in from the proposed start date. Then we have, project execution summary, project effort summary, project financials. We added this toggle here so that you are able to kind of remove the effort fields if that's not something that you're wanting to track. But see, this is kind of the versatility that you get when using these model-driven apps. The Power Apps, you're able to just kind of add these types of fields so that you're better suited to kind of modify the project relatively quickly here. We have some baseline fields there, and we'll get more on that in a bit. And we have some variances as well. So none of these are filled in just because the rest of the information hasn't been filled in yet as well. But as part of this project lifecycle, we have initiation, right? And we have, the business case tab has been filled out. Once again, we have some deliverables that we want to go through. If that is all good, we're going to go ahead and move it to the next stage. We're here in approval. I'm going to go ahead and approve it. And can go on to the next stage. Click on that, and now we are in the planning process per se. And then, like I mentioned, we want to go to the task tab so that we are able to review the schedule that is here. So in this case, we don't have a schedule template set up, so we can add tasks. So I'm going to do some test task 1, test task 2 here as well. So now you can add specific tasks, and I can also assign members to this group. So I'm going to go ahead and try to add Bryce here. I can add them to the group. So I can assign resources here as well. So at this point is where you would want to really make sure that you kind of have your schedule updated. If you're using a schedule template, right, most of these tasks will already be here. It's a matter of assigning the correct resources, whether, named resources or generic resources. Make sure that the durations make sense. If there are any tasks that pertain to your project, modify them. If there are tasks that don't, then, you can remove them at that point as well. And that way you just kind of have um, an updated schedule ready for this. And this is really what Planner Premium is doing, right? This is the kind of embedded portion of Planner Premium. All right. Let's go back to summary real quick. All right, and then before we get to really project execution, one of the things that we want to ensure is that all the desired resources that we have are available to work and they have no conflicts or allocations. And that way, your project can be off to a good start without any delays in that process. So one way that you can do that is you can kind of plan the use of your resources. One way that we've done it here is by embedding resource reports so that we know kind of more or less how our resources are doing, the team that I'm about to assign to this project as well. Um, that way we have a clear indication that, the team is ready to start on the project, and I'm not going to schedule the project at a time where people are busy with, and over allocated with other projects. And therefore my project wouldn't be off to a good start. So one way you could do that is going to the resource reports. Again, this is something that we have configured, but if you have a resource report on your own in Power BI, this is something that you very well can do. We've kind of created a couple of reports. We have like the My Work reports, the portfolio reports, but in this case, really resource reports is a good way to do it. One way that you can do this is by kind of using the loading overview report. We've created a loading overview report that will allow or give us information really about, what project team is over allocated. So this really provides a bigger picture view of your resources. And then, views such as the availability heat map, which is the one right next to it, will allow us to see individual team members. So if we want to know if a specific resource is over allocated, for example, we can see Amanda Coleman is over allocated for for October, I should say. So that way I can track a specific resource. And then if I want to know any specific task causing this over allocation, that's where I would go to time phased assignments. And I can kind of open these up between projects and the individual tasks that are truly causing the different over allocations for the team members. So this is just one way that you are able to truly kind of manage the resources before you get to project execution, before you get to really like managing that specific project. So this is all like kind of planning work. So I'll just go back to plans and I'll click on test webinar 1. All right, there we are. So you can see some information as we've added tasks, some information has become available. One of the next steps that I want to talk to you about, and it's within the task tab, is that once we have information here, so let me fill out some of the durations for the tasks. So let's say starts today, so starts tomorrow. Right, so I've added some durations there as well. And we also have a baseline feature. So baselines really represent a snapshot of estimated values prior to project execution. And then these baseline values that we are storing are going to be compared to the current values as the project goes on, and that calculates some variances that really help us kind of look at those health indicators along the way. The suggested approach to use the suggested approach to do baselining is to use this task tab and use the baseline feature that is available here. If I click on baseline, as you can see, there has been no baseline created yet. But if I click on create baseline, I'm essentially storing the information for the tasks that are already here. And there's only a single, one of the things about this is that there's only a single baseline set per project. And this sets the baseline both at the project and the task level. And another thing is that you cannot lock baseline values. So I'm going to go ahead, and now that I have the baseline all set, that's all good. I'll go back to the project summary. And I'm going to why is it in user input? Let me save real quick. There we go. So now that I've set it up to be, in the task tab, I do have the task values here. But this is, again, something that we've done with PowerPro, where baselines can be set at the task tab level, right, using Planner Premium's scheduling engine. But we can also manually input these. As you can see, these are locked at the moment. And cannot be changed. However, if I were to go back to and switch this back to the user input, I am able to kind of set these up myself as well. This is, again, something that doesn't necessarily come out of the box with Planner Premium and leveraging Planner Premium within Power App. But this is something that you are able to do if you wish that baselining it would be done at a more manual level. But there we go. We start seeing some more project effort fields start being filled out there. Any variance, if there are, would appear here as well. I'm also going to be filling out some of the projected costs here so that we can start getting some cost variance. So I'm just going to say it is 5,000. And I'm going to say the budget is 6,000. Boom, I wrote 60. I added one extra zero. There we go. And then once again, I'm just going to save that. And as you can see now, cost variance is at negative 1,000. Typically, negative is good. We have kind of an outline here for the variances. We've set it up to say, plus is bad, negative is good, and then save to recalculate these as well. All right, so now that we're pretty much done planning for that project, it would be now time to really manage the project. So I'm just going to go ahead and see resource availability confirmed. We confirmed that Bryce was available, so we're going to complete that. Project schedule has been finalized for the sake of the webinar. Baseline is set. This is a smart field. It already sees that the baseline has been set, and an M365 group or team has been created, and that is applied to this project. I'm going to complete that. One way that you can tell that M365 group or team was created is that now the owner, as opposed to it being myself, is now the test webinar project. And that would be the team that includes myself and Bryce. Now if I click next, now we're in project execution. And this is truly where you're going to be managing that project. So in order to efficiently manage that project in Planner, you'll really want to decide on a method of tracking your task progress. So once you're in the tasks, there's really two ways to go about this. You can either have a project manager or individuals within a project group update the tasks in the schedule with either actual work completed or task percentage completed. So one way that we can see this, I'm just going to go ahead and click on one of these tasks. Open the details. As you can see, we have the effort. So we have, hours completed, hours remaining, and the total hours. So in this case, if I were to update this for the actual work and I say I did 4 hours, it removes the 4 hours remaining. The total is still 4 hours. If I say I added 5, it'll just kind of increase it. But by doing that, what I've done is I have kind of finished out this task. So that's why you see it be crossed here. It's crossed out now. So that's one way you could do it. You could have a project manager or a group complete either the percentage complete field or the actual work. And pretty much any user with edit permissions can update task progress. And all members of the project group will be able to edit the task progress as well. Another option that you have is having team members that can see and edit the percentage complete of the task that they are assigned to if their permissions allow it. So let's say that if a team member of the project group may have a planner or project license, they will be able to update any task in the schedule. But if they only have an Microsoft M365 license and they don't have a project license, they'll only be able to update tasks that are assigned to them, even if the assigned task is also assigned to multiple resources. So it really comes down to a licensing thing, right? You can have a team member that does have a planner or project license, and they'll be able to pretty much go into this similarly to like the project group would be able to. But if they only have an M365 license, then they will only be able to once again see the tasks that are assigned to them. So that's one important thing to consider. Those are two ways in which you can kind of, manage that project as in terms of project progress and what is happening. Another thing that we like to go into while we're managing are the project related items, as I mentioned before. So we have risks, issues, changes. So if we go to the risks here, there are no risks currently available. But if they're, in the event of if there is an uncertain event or condition that, if it occurs, has a positive or negative effect to, one or more of the projects, or can possibly have an impact in various aspects of the project, such as like, scheduling, scope, cost, quality issues, you would definitely want to add a new risk here. And then that's fairly easy. You click on the button there, and then you'll have some predetermined risk fields, but once again, all of this is modifiable. And then you can add a risk, right here. So I can say, customer dissatisfaction. I'm just going to write some information here. Test. I'll give it a category. I'll say it's this case. I'm just going to say it's other. The status, it's automatically set to active. I'm going to assign this one to Bryce. Date raised today. I'm going to put myself as the person that raised it. Impact, I'm once again going to just add test information here, but you guys will be putting in some more information when the risk arises. I'm going to set the probability level as a 3, and then the impact level as a 5, which will help me calculate the exposure. So this should be a 15 exposure level. And then I'll just add a mitigation plan here. I'll just say test in this case, test plan, contingency plan. So once all that information is there, I'll just go ahead and save it. Save and close. And now you'll have a risk that has been created for this specific project. Similarly, we have issues here, and they work the exact same way. For the sake of time, I'm not going to fill out the issue, but in this case, they are a bit different. They don't have the probability scores here, but you'd still fill out the data normally as you would with any issue in any other project management software. And then we also have changes here. So let's say there's a change in scope, change in the schedule dates, change in, cost or quality. This is something that you can, actively or proactively, I should say, kind of notify here, right? So let's say, increased budget due to resource constraints. We can pick that one there. I'm just going to add some more details here. Change type. I'm going to say it is cost. Right, increase in budget due to resource constraints. Requested decision date. I'll put in, so before we get to the decision, I'm going to do date raised first, requested by, say, Oscar. Change impact is high, change risk is high, priority is high, and then change plan, I'll just put test in there as well. Oh, I need to fill the request decision date before I save, so I'll go ahead and make the decision today. Decision assignee, I'm going to say it's the sponsor who did this. The status would be, I'm going to set it up to be draft. Final approver name, I'm going to put price. This is just a single line text field, so I can pretty much put anyone here in case the approval is not someone that is in our user table. In this case, let me just put Orson Krennic because I have it available there to me. Date decision made. I'm going to say it's today as well. And then chain approved. And then I can save and close. And just like that, the change has been documented, in its respective part of the system. Now that leads us to kind of monitoring project progress. So this provides you a really awesome way to do it. So we have something called status. So in the status page, when you click into it, you have the ability to create status reports. And something really cool about these status reports is that these are also, or they can be made accessible via Power BI. So if you have a Power BI report for your projects, there's a way to kind of capture all this data and then put it into your Power BI report so that you have the same kind of KPIs at a glance within the same Power BI report that maybe the stakeholders or the higher ups in the organization would be looking at. So let me just show you kind of how that looks. So I'm going to be creating a new status report here, and I'm going to set the report date to be today. I'm going to say the overall health is green, which is a good indicator. These can be changed as well, right? They could just say, they could be words. They could say, good, bad, warning, whatever it may be. We've opted not to use like three of the same shape in different colors, just to help people that may be color impaired and they wouldn't be able to see it. So that way we have a circle, a green circle, which means good, yellow triangle with the little exclamation mark, which is kind of in the middle, right? Means you should pay attention to this. It's a warning. And then, the red squares being something that isn't good. I'm just going to write a quick project status. Project is going well. Let me fix that real quick. All right. We have a current spend to date. So I'm just going to say we've spent 4,000 to date. Any accomplished activities? I'm going to say yes. Just again, for the sake of time, upcoming activities and key decisions, I'm just going to write many. And then for KPIs, this one's really cool. It's just very similar to the overall health. We're gonna select one of these. We're gonna say the schedule health is doing good, all good. And then for issue health, I'm gonna say, well, we have one risk, not necessarily an issue. So I'm just gonna say we have one risk to track. Financial health, I'm gonna say we're doing good. Then let's say for resource health, if we weren't doing too good because, maybe our resources got over allocated because they got pushed into another project as well, then I'm just going to say, my resource was moved to another project. And just like that, we kind of have filled out all the information for the status report. Once again, this is very modifiable. If there are any specifics that you want to track, for your organization, you can definitely do that within the status report page as well. You can change these, change the KPIs, add new ones, add documents, add a place where you can add links. Definitely, these are very modifiable. I'm going to go ahead and save and close this. And once more, now you'll have this available here. All right, so as the project continues and we are, kind of approaching the end of the project, we have all the necessary information regarding it. Let's say that all our tasks are complete. So I'm just going to go ahead and complete all of these tasks real quick. All right. I'm going to do update the percentage complete to be 100%. That closed off that task. I'm going to do the same with this one, 100%. Closed off that task. All right, we should be all set for that. So I'm going to go ahead and summary. In here, I'm going to say that the project is 100% complete. And move this on to the next stage. So all the project deliverables are complete. And I say yes. I didn't close the risks and the issues that we created, but I will go ahead and, for the sake of time, I will lie about this here and say that they were complete, even though I didn't close those out. But ideally, right, you can either create a business rule that will check whether or not they've been completed, or you can kind of create kind of an honor system, yes or no, or complete or incomplete field that someone would have to manually go in here and kind of validate these steps, validate these individual project related items, and then put the information here. So once we're at next steps, we're at project closure. And when your project is approaching closing, the execution stage in the project lifecycle will require you to confirm that the project is 100% complete, kind of like I said. And then the closure stage will also ask you for the same field. So that's why it's already completed here. And then all the other deliverables have been completed. Again, these are all modifiable. If there are any specific closing activities that you do, such as a retrospective, if you want to have a project retrospective as well, these kinds of meetings, you want a financial evaluation meeting as well towards the end. These are all things that you can add as deliverables here. And then just kind of go through it almost like a checklist, right? To make sure that you are wrapping up any of these processes. So I'll just go ahead, click complete and complete here. And then just like that, I'm going to finish the project. And now the entirety of the project has gone through its life cycle. And I've essentially managed, the project from the project request, right, to finish. Now that said, I'm going to take you through some key takeaways. So by integrating Planner Premium with Power Apps, you will be leveraging the best of both of those solutions to seamlessly manage a project throughout its life cycle. Meaning that once again, you're kind of using the best of that scheduling engine for Planner Premium, but then you're also combining it with a lot of the tools that Power Apps already includes for you, and really creating a very robust project management tool. Power Apps allows you to add plenty of additional functionality, which is what I was kind of hinting at, that will enhance the experience of using Planner Premium to manage projects. This added functionality, such as the project lifecycle stages and approvals, improve project reporting and general process management by taking users on a step-by-step staged approach to projects, and also right, maintaining kind of the data integrity along the way. And then, Power Apps will allow you to customize the data that you want to capture for a project, create those business rules and automated flows to ensure that data integrity, as I was mentioning, and also to adhere to best practices along the way, which is, crucial if you want to keep track of all your projects in the most efficient manner when it comes to, reporting. You want to make sure that kind of all the data is, as they say, all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted. And this is one way that, using both Power Apps integrated with Planner Premium, you're able to achieve that goal. All right, well, it's been a pleasure taking you through our Power Pro solution, just kind of showcasing the benefits of using Planner Premium and Power Apps combined. I will open the floor to any questions that you may have at the moment. And but yeah, thank you so much for staying tuned and listening to our tips and tricks webinar.
Thanks for that great presentation, Oscar. Hopefully folks found this useful. We'll now open the floor to questions and answers. Remember to enter your questions in the question answer manager at the top of your team screen. Let's see if there's any questions in the queue. I think we do have a few.
All
One
right, so
person asked, yeah, what's the core difference between this plan product and Microsoft Project web app or Project Pro combination?
yeah, so Microsoft Project Pro, I would say it really depends on the use case and what kind of project you are currently using or currently going through. When you use project, you start using things more like critical path and sometimes a little bit more complex tools. This definitely, project or planner premium definitely isn't necessarily built for that kind of complexity that project does allow you to have. Um, but it is definitely something that you can kind of customize a little bit more just because you can, fuse it with Power Apps. So in the end, it would really depend on like kind of what project you're trying to manage, right? How complex the project may be, how long they may be, whether or not you require critical paths, multiple critical paths, or even master projects. These are things that Planner Premium won't necessarily or might not necessarily be the best fit. And therefore, something more robust like Microsoft Project would be a better fit. But don't let that deter you. Like Microsoft Planner Premium does have a lot of versatility, and like I mentioned, combining it with the functionality that something like Power Apps provides, you can definitely create an incredibly robust project management system.
Thanks, Oscar. And Mark asked, can you add different utilizations for resources such as zero point 0.5 FTE for Bryce or 2.0 FTE for generic resources needed for the project in Planner Premium?
I think to a certain extent you are able to, because you can definitely like kind of share the task between different resources. I want to I don't want to speak to the potential limitations of it, so I'm going to take that question in and then we'll get back to you on that one with more details about it because I want to make sure that I'm providing the best answer possible for that. But I do think it is potentially possible. I'm just not entirely sure of all the maybe the caveats that might come with it.
And then Mark also asked, can cost resources and material resources be added at the task level in the schedule?
That is correct. Yes. So one of the things that I didn't really show it was at this stage because this is more kind of an administrative process, but you can create different types of resources. Some of those could be cost and material resources, which you can very well assign to the different tasks. You can also create generic resources as well.
Thanks, Oscar. And Salvador asked, can the schedule be created and maintained using Project Professional?
So when it comes to creating, if you want to create a schedule and kind of import it to Planner, you can do that using Project Professional. When it comes to maintaining the project schedule, if you want to maintain it in Project Professional, I don't think it would be ideal to kind of have them live in both sections because they're not truly communicating between each other. So usually it's either one or the other, but you can definitely use Project Professional as a way to kind of structure the schedule before you import it to Planner, before you even maybe use it as a schedule template, right? These are things that you can do from Project Professional. But kind of having them maintained either on both sides, living in one place and maintaining it in the other, kind of opens the box up to, potential like data transferring issues that, might not be the best or might not be the most efficient for managing your project.
Here's another question. Is it fair statement that planner would be best suited for a traditional project manager role, while project pro slash PWA is better fitting for traditional a scheduler function?
Wait, could you repeat the question, Annie? Sorry about that.
Yeah, of course. Is it a fair statement that planner would be best suited for a traditional project manager role, while project pro or PWA is better fitting for a traditional scheduler function?
Yeah, I would say that's a fair statement to make.
Looks like we have one more question. Also, what's the cost of a planner license and how well does it integrate with project professional or PWA?
So the planner license is also the project license, right? So that's one of the really cool things about it. I think they've linked kind of those licenses together. It's like a project or planner. It's how I mentioned it in the webinar before and in the slides that you will be receiving. I just kind of they kind of link together. In terms of the cost, I would probably have to get back to you on that just in case there were any specific updates that I'm not aware of. But yet, pretty much having a project license you can also use a planner. One quick kind of fact is that what we know now as planner used to be called project for the web. So it kind of very similarly works, right? There's like a lot of things that kind of came from project, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's completely project, but the licenses do definitely apply to both.
Alrighty, well, if there's no other questions, I guess we'll move on. So how do you get started? If you're interested in exploring the use of Microsoft Planner Premium and or Microsoft Project to manage and report on your portfolio of projects, resources, and work, reach out. Our team can assist with helping you understand and evaluate your options, including laying out a roadmap for deploying some of the technology, developing a plan for implementation, as well as guiding you on the support required for success. Our contact information is included here, including a link to our website with lots of good info on the services and solutions available to accelerate your rollout of all the Microsoft project and work management products. Additionally, if you already own Microsoft Plan licenses, like most do, would like guidance on what you can do to best maximize these, let's have a conversation. We could provide options for which technology is the right fit for your PMO, IT organization, or business groups. Microsoft has different offerings, and there's no one size fits all with Microsoft project management tools. Thank you again for joining our webinar today. We appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you online for our next session. Have a great day.